few things. My name is Alyssa, and I'm from Boston Children's Museum. And I'm going to be helping out our presenter today by reading her your questions. So if you have any questions at all during our presentation today, please go ahead and type them into the chat. And for right now, if anybody wants to let us know where you are, and you can make sure that you know how to use the chat, you can test it out by telling us where you are today. So we are going to give a big round of applause to whoever's here from the farthest away. We are joined with my friend Diane, who is also from the Boston Children's Museum. She's going to be helping out. And the guest of honor today is our friend Kristen, who is from Rainforest Reptile Shows. And Kristen likes to see everybody's faces or see what everybody thinks. So if you don't mind, and it's totally up to you, but if you don't mind turning on your video, you can turn on your video. Kristen may be asking you questions and asking you to give a thumbs up or something like that. So if she can see you, and Diane and I will help her see what's going on, then you can turn on your video and give us a thumbs up. We got one friend right there on video. That is awesome. So up to you if you want to go ahead and turn on your video. If not, that's cool. You can definitely talk to us in the chat. We've got somebody here from New Hampshire and somebody from Maine. And I think depending on where you are in Maine, right now, either Maine or Toronto might be the two farthest away.
Oh, I think I'm gonna have to give it to Chloe.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
I've driven to the farthest points of Maine, but
not as far as Toronto, huh? Yeah, I guess Toronto. You know what? Toronto's farther west than I think it is. Yeah, that's yeah. All right.
I went to the Upper Peninsula, but so I guess yeah, I've been as far as Toronto.
All right. Well, I think we can go ahead and get started. We have some friends here. Again, friends, welcome. If you would like to turn on your video, that would be super. If you don't want to turn on your video, that is fine. But definitely, please, please, please ask us your questions in the chat. Kristen just doesn't want to talk about the stuff that she thinks is cool. She wants to talk about the stuff that you think is cool. So,
yes, please.
All right. So Kristen is here from Rainforest Reptile Shows. I am going to hand it over to her. Thank you for being here, Kristen.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everybody. Like I was awesomely introduced, I am here from Rainforest Reptile Shows. We are out of Massachusetts. We actually have the awesome opportunity to travel all over and teach with animals that we have helped take in because of abuse or neglect. So all the animals we house here had to come to us to have a new start and a new home. We do specialize with reptiles. So today I tried to bring you a couple really cool reptiles that we have here. And there is actually one name that every person in the world is called who studies reptiles. What they actually know me as is a herpetologist. So I hope that as a herpetologist that I can answer some questions for you, maybe introduce you to something really, really, really cool. I am going to start with actually the smaller of my two friends.
I wonder what it is.
This is George.
Hello, George.
So George is actually a red-footed turtle. If you can see, he has.
Oh, Kristen, we're losing your volume a little bit. I don't know if your mic came unplugged, but.
If I come this way, is that a little bit better?
Yep, much better. Thank you.
Sorry, wrong side of the computer. So George is known as a red-footed turtle. I want you to see these amazing spots. Look at that. Oh, so cool. It's on all of his feet. And he comes from South America. He comes from places like Brazil and Venezuela. He actually wanders the edge of the forest. And scientists have figured out that he is a land turtle or a tortoise, same thing, because of his shell and his feet. Tortoises are known for these amazing feet. If we go, oh, George, let him in. If we see he has no webs between his toes, his feet are known as elephantine feet or elephant-like feet. Land turtles, tortoises, they are known for these amazing, large, walking feet. They don't need swimming webs. And their shells are usually very domed across the top. red-footed turtles are almost a peanut shape. So they look like a peanut shell. Hi, it's nice to see you. Hello, thank you for the wave. They look more like a peanut shell, but they still have this amazing dome so that when they tuck inside, they look like a rock. They don't need to be streamlined or flat, just like a submarine for cutting through the water. They can have domes and dips and bumps and be safe outdoors. Now there's two special parts of a turtle's shell, the top or carapace, and the bottom is the plastron. And I want to try to show you, if I turn him this way, you guys might be able to start to see the really cool dip in the underside of his shell. That's actually because he is a male land turtle. Guys, girls are the only ones that lay eggs. So girls have a flat bottom to their shell because they need space for eggs. The land turtle boys don't need extra space because they don't lay eggs. And guess what? George, hi George. George is a herbivore. Now, in the people world, we would probably know him as a vegetarian or even a vegan because he doesn't need dairy either. But in the animal world, he's known as a herbivore. And a herbivore is all fruits and veggies.
Hey, Kristen, I have a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can a turtle climb out of a shell?
Oh gosh, no. I want to try to show you. The cool thing about being on video is I bet you I can show you because George is so cool with people. Put that foot back out. Got it. There it is. He is actually stuck completely to the inside of his shell. So when he was born, he was about this big, barely bigger than a golf ball, had his shell, but the inside of his shell, the very outside right here, see the insides of these spots? These spots are called scutes. These yellow scutes touched together. And then he has these grow bands, these rings, these growth rings that have grown as he has grown, and they'll continue to grow his whole life. So he goes from being teeny tiny, and then he grows and grows and grows, and these bands will continue to grow. And if you look inside a turtle's shell, you'll actually see his backbone and his ribs are part of the inside of a turtle's shell. Nice question.
Cool. Thanks. So again, friends, if you have any questions, go ahead and please ask them. You can type them right into the chat and I will read them aloud to Kristen and she will answer or try to answer any question you have.
Mm-hmm. The worst that happens is I don't know. Nobody in the world knows every single thing, but I would love to hear every question so that even if I don't know, I will even go and try to figure it out. That's how we learn. Now, friends, I want to show you something, okay? Talking about turtles not being able to come out of their shell, it also means that when we say a turtle hides by going inside their shell, it's not that they can move around inside it. It's that they can actually take their head, their legs, and pin. Can you go ahead if I tickle your shoulders? They can pin their body flat against the inside. Oh, now you're not going to do it? Thanks, George. They can pin themselves flat against their shell. So see how his tail sits very flat against his shell? An animal couldn't grab that if they wanted to try to hurt him. He can do that with all four legs, his tail, and his head. And his head will actually go so far inside his shell that his two front knees will touch together in front of his nose. Yeah, it's crazy. Hi, George.
Okay, Kristen, I've got a couple more questions for you.
Yes, please.
Question number one, what is the difference between a turtle and a tortoise?
Land turtles and tortoises, exact same thing. Water turtles do not have two names. Some people say, well, isn't a terrapin a water turtle? It's a kind of water turtle. Isn't a slider a water turtle? It's a kind of water turtle. But land turtles and tortoises, same thing. Water turtles, although you have tons of different kinds, There's no second name that is specifically a water turtle.
All right. And then our next question, does George have teeth?
No, I want to zoom as close as I can. Okay. He has a beak. He has a really, really, really cool beak. And it's a combination of bone and cartilage. And this beak, top and bottom, actually pulls plants right up out of the ground. So he doesn't need teeth. And then the bone and everything inside squishes food up for him to eat it. If he was going to be a meat eater, it would be the same thing. Snapping turtles do the same thing, but the point on the front of their mouth is actually usually longer to help hold other animals. But nope, turtles absolutely do not need any kind of teeth. Just a nice big beak. Nice job, George. Who
Does
else has a
George have a
question?
favorite food?
Oh, in the summertime, watermelon. Watermelon for sure. Absolutely. He doesn't get a ton of watermelon because it's almost all water. But in the summertime, when it's hot and we give it to him, he is like watermelon red ear to ear. And they do actually have an ear. Look at that. Can you see the circle? That circle is his ear. It has extra skin on top of it to protect it so that nothing can get inside his ear. I like to say that mammals are the only animals that need a sticky outy ear. This extra ear flap, this cartilage flap, they don't need it. They don't. So instead, they have a skin right on top of it, completely protecting it.
All right, I got
What
one more
else? Do you have
question
any
for
other
you,
cool
Kristen.
questions?
Yeah.
What's up?
Christopher wants to know, how fast can land turtles, or tortoises as they're known, go in an hour?
Oh gosh, it totally depends on the turtle, because if you have a turtle this big, in an hour, he may go 100 feet. If you have a giant turtle, they could go multiple football or multiple rugby fields in an hour. They are very, very slow, but very determined. Okay, we'll put it that way. They don't have a ton of speed. You're never going to see them running. Not their thing. They're going to hide because they can't run. They have to carry all their bones on their back. But what they're going to do is they're going to go and not stop. And they'll actually push through stuff, under stuff, over stuff, whatever they need to get where they need to go. So yeah, they could easily go more than a couple football or rugby fields in an hour.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a couple of questions here that are both about George's eyes. Somebody wants to know, what color are his eyes? And somebody else wants to know, how is his eyesight?
So his eyesight is very, very different than ours. They do have good eyesight, but not great. But he actually has a very large black pupil, and the outer ring of his eye is almost a yellow color.
I see that.
I'm not sure if it's coming in quite yellow enough, but it is. It's almost, it looks like Crayola yellow. It really does. They're really, really cool. Alyssa, are there any other questions about him?
There are not right now.
Okay, then before I show you my other friend, I do want to let you know, he is actually not full grown. In the wild, these are some of the largest land turtles of South America. So he's going to get larger and wider before he's full grown. And these giant land tortoises are known for living over 100 years. And before you even ask, we cannot count the rings on his shell to know his exact age. I did tell you that they get growth rings, but depending on his food, his space, how much sunlight he gets, some years they won't grow any rings, and some years they could grow even 6 rings in 1 year. So the only way to know exactly how old he is to know when he hatched. And we know from how long we've had him and how long the people had him before that he is probably 35 or 40 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. To think he could live more than 50 more years.
Yeah, that's probably as old as some of the grown-ups out there.
Yeah.
I have another question.
Yes.
Christopher wants to know, can tortoises land on their backs?
Yes. They absolutely can. They can't do it for very long because all the organs inside them sit this way. So if they roll over, it'll actually flip all their organs and everything upside down. So it can hurt them if it's for too long. But they can flip upside down, and most of them will actually push their head and their legs and roll and rock their body until their body flips back over again. So if they're fighting for space, or if they're looking for a partner and another male comes along, or if they run into something, or if something grabs them and moves them, they can get back to right from being upside down. Yeah.
All right.
Such cool questions. Alyssa, does anyone else have a question?
If they do, they didn't tell me about it.
Okay, then we are going to, I want to be able to show you someone else that's really, really cool. If anything comes up, please, if you think of anything, let me know. I'm happy to still answer questions about him, but I do want to show you my friend Loki.
Okay, let's all give a silent applause for George. And you know what, while we're at it, I did promise Chloe that we would applaud her for being the farthest one away. So applause for Chloe.
Woo-hoo.
All right, I cannot wait to see what Kristen's new friend is. Actually, Kristen, before you bring your friend out, I want to see if any of our friends have a guess. Any guesses?
Oh my gosh,
Kristen's
yeah.
new friend is?
Give some guesses, and then I'm going to give you a big hint.
I'm pretty sure it's not an elephant, because
It is
elephants
not.
aren't reptiles,
Mm-mm.
and it wouldn't fit there. Oh, somebody thinks maybe it's a gecko,
Ooh, I love
a
geckos.
monkey, a snake.
Not a monkey. I worked with monkeys. I'm not going to work with monkeys again, I don't think.
Okay. Any other guesses? What does Kristen have there? Remember, she has reptiles.
There are, first hint, there are 4 different kinds of animals
Oh, somebody
in
thinks
the
it could be a frog.
reptile world.
Okay, is it a frog?
Frogs are amphibians,
Okay, so no.
so they don't count. And whoever said it was a gecko, it's not a lizard at all.
And somebody thinks it might be a snake.
I love snakes.
Me too.
I love snakes.
Ooh,
You
is
do
it a
too?
sea turtle? Somebody wants to know.
It's not a sea turtle. So we actually do not have salt water here. So we do not house sea turtles.
Okay, any more guesses before we see our next?
I'm gonna give you one more hint.
Okay.
It is.
Is it a bearded dragon? Somebody wants to know.
Oh, it is not. It is one of the largest reptiles in the United States.
Wow. All right. Are we ready to see?
Miss Diane's like,
I am. I'm ready. Oh my gosh.
oh, hi. Guess who? Diane, you look so excited. Oh, now you're gonna wiggle. Now you're gonna wiggle. You have been so quiet and wonderful, and now you're gonna wiggle. Say hello to all of my friends. Guys, this is my friend. This is Mr. Peanut, and he is an American alligator.
Oh, and somebody thinks he's so cute.
He is so cute. Here's the problem. They are 6 inches long when they are first born, and they are 900 pounds when they are full size. And they are one of the fastest animals, one of the fastest reptiles when it comes to their size and their speed and their aggression. They are what they call ambush predators. So they will jump out of the water, grab their food, and pull it back. So it makes them very, very dangerous. So even though he looks like he has a wonderful grin, do not let that fool you. These guys are highly dangerous animals. And I would like to show you, if you'll sit still, please. Hi. Is it hard to be an alligator sometimes? Is it hard to be a big, mean alligator sometimes? Let's show them what coolness you have. He has, oh, there you go. He has almost 80 teeth in his mouth at one time. That is not something to mess with. Did you guys see what I did? This is actually called a reflex. Anything that touches the outside of an alligator or crocodile's mouth will make his mouth open. He cannot control that. He cannot stop it. And inside, oh, I love this video. Can you see that? Can you see the extra flap right on the back? That is called his epiglottis. That's extra skin that flaps over the back of his tongue so that he does not drown when he's swimming. And look at, he can stick his tongue out, but he actually cannot stick his tongue out. It is part of the bottom of his mouth.
One of our friends, Kristen, thinks that Mr. Peanut is scary.
They can be a little scary. Yep. Any animal that is as fast as we are and bites stronger than we do and has more teeth than we get in our whole life, yeah, can be a little bit scary, but in their own space, they're actually quite beautiful to look at. They're some of the oldest animals, just like turtles. They're some of the oldest animals on our earth right now. And their cousins have made it through millions of years. So they're actually kind of a really cool animal. Now, I know I told you how there's no webs in George's toes, but there are webs in an alligator's toes. So he has webs here, and he has webs here, on and under. You are not very cooperative, mister. On and under, right there in the flaps of his feet, which means that he is actually going to spend quite a lot of time in the water. And he actually is known for spending time on land and in water because it's one of the ways that he regulates his temperature. So there it is. He has these.
What is
It's
that?
hard to see, but I'm going to try to turn him so you can see.
Okay, and after you explain that, I do have one question.
Cool. They are the bumps on his back. So what you see, those black bumps, are actually called osteoderm bones. Okay? They're a bone with a scale on top. They're not attached to his back. They're actually attached to the scale, and they warm his body. So what he's going to do is yes, wiggle, wiggle all you want. He's going to come out of the water. He's going to sit in the sunshine, but he's not going to want to get too hot. So what he's going to do is he's going to go in the shade or back into the water. And these bones
a little more to the center because we lose your audio when you go to the sides. So try and stay in the
Oh,
center.
no.
There we go. Good.
There we go. Cool beans. So what you said you had a question for me.
I do have a question, yes. But before I ask it, I want to remind everyone that if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat and I will read them to Kristen and Mr. Peanut. I want to know how Mr. Peanut got his name. But before we get to that, somebody wants to know how long can he stay underwater?
They can actually stay underwater, oh gosh, some of them for almost an hour at a time. They'll usually come up more often than that, but most of them will even sleep underwater. But if you see how his nose curls up just a little bit? That's so that his entire body can stay under the water and just his nostrils and his eyes will pop up. So usually what will happen is multiple times in an hour, they'll pop up and down and just lift their nostrils up out of the water. Cool. So Alyssa, he's actually named Peanut. I'm going to show you. Right between his eyes, right here, these two spots look like a peanut in its shell.
Okay.
So, and also when we got him, his head was too big for his body. He didn't have very good care, so he was super, super skinny. So he had this big giant head and this little peanut body. So the combo of the two had to give him an awesome name.
Got it. Okay, I have a few more questions for you. First question, how long can Mr. Peanut's teeth grow?
You ready for this? I think I have one in my pocket. I stash surprises in my pockets all the time. So I want each of you, whether you're on video or not, I want each of you guys to hold your finger up and look at your pointer finger, okay? Because alligators' teeth get as long as pointer fingers. So
Wow.
what happens is his teeth are not growing his whole life. He's not like George, who's going to continue to grow. His teeth shed and new teeth come in. So he's going to have a tooth. The tooth pushes up underneath, pushes the first tooth out, and a new bigger tooth will grow in. They're thought to get between 5,000 and 6,000 teeth in their life. And that means because they live almost as long as we do, it means that they're getting about 100 sets in their lifetime. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of teeth, Vivian wants to know, how do alligators eat?
Oh, they literally open, chomp, thrash around. If you've ever heard what's called a gator roll, they actually do. They will grab their food and they will roll and roll and roll and roll and roll until they have a piece that they can swallow. They don't ever chew because none of those teeth are flat.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Priya, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, wants to know, how old is he?
So Peanut right now is only about 4 years old. If I scooch way back, you can even see he's only that big. So he is about 4 feet long, and they grow between 6 and 12 inches a year until they're 6 feet long. That's when they're mature animals. So he is only about 4 years old. And when he reaches 6 feet, that's when he'll become a territorial animal and will start to become more of a predator instead of a small prey. And that's when he will also be able to start to have mates, and when the females will start to lay eggs.
Okay. I see
Mm-hmm.
Vivian's got her hand up, but I wonder if she was just stretching. Vivian, were you just stretching? Oh, she's showing us.
Oh, you have a bunny. Love it, Vivian. I love your bunny.
All right, we got one more question here. Somebody wants to know if he has ears.
Oh, he does. Ready? Right there. Do you see the slit behind his eye? Right there.
Oh,
You gonna close your eye for me? And it actually closes when he closes his eyes. But it's the little tiny slit right behind his ear, or right behind his eye. Yep, yep. And the skin will actually close almost completely over it. It also closes over his nostrils so that he doesn't get water and dirt and debris inside his ears or his nose. Mm-hmm.
cool. All right, friends, we have just a couple more minutes with Kristen and Peanut, or if you have any questions that you've thought of about George. Oh, here we do have a question. How do alligators play?
They're not big players. I will be honest. They do things to entertain themselves. I saw an alligator one time catching bubbles in the water, which was kind of silly. But they are not big players. They really, really, really keep their life to protection, to keeping safe, to finding food, and finding a space where they can live. But I have seen them on their own doing silly little things like catching bubbles or splashing around, and it makes me wonder, if by themselves, when nobody's peeking, if they do like to try to be inquisitive, or if they're just trying to figure the world out. But either way, I think they might play just a little bit by themselves.
Cool. You know what? I just got the same question from two different people. How
Awesome.
long can an alligator's tail grow?
So their tail is always going to be about half the length of their body. So if you have an alligator who is 6 feet, typically their tail will be right around 3 feet. That means if you have an alligator that's full size, that's closer to 12 feet, their tail will be almost 6 feet long.
That's longer than me.
That's, yeah, yeah. That's like as tall as a really, like that. Taller than most moms, about the height of most dads. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
All right. Does anybody have any last questions for Kristen? Any last comments? Oh, can we see the tail again?
Of course. Ready? I'm gonna scoop them up one more time. Those big back feet. There he is.
That tail is pretty terrific.
It is. It is. I've been keeping it pinched under my arm because it helps hold him still and lets him feel balanced.
All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, let's everybody give a big silent applause for Kristen and
Thank
Peanut
you.
and
Thank
George.
you.
Thank you all
Big,
so much
huge,
for
huge
being
applause to the
here.
museum too.